Okay, so welcome to CC Playthroughs. This is going to be my judging notes for certainly the courses that I play in the start of the contest. So starting with Bradshaw Hallows, these are principally for the designer, but if anyone else wants to watch and get some feedback, all more than welcome. So 6, 9, 24, we've got 4 pins. I'm going to go with, let's see. So obviously off the back tees for me, I use master clubs, and I'm going to go pin 2 for first round of just about everyone I play. So my intention is kind of to go through. I thought I'd do a video rather than provide notes. I can usually point to things on the screen, that way life just gets a little bit easier. With all of this, don't have a specific type of course that I'm looking for, but we'll see what it all brings. Okay, lots of retaining wall, lots of little bits of work. Interested as to how you get round. Lots of stuff going on. Bunker shapes look a little bit small to my liking. The green's kind of funky. Not necessarily a bad thing. Heavy rough's kind of intermittent. Might have to. I was chugging a little bit there. I'd rather stick it on high if I can. Okay. So really like this work here. And where do you go from here? Okay, so we have no way to get to the fairway, which is definitely a knock on kind of realism and takes me out of my round, because I wouldn't want a giant bridge here. I think that would ruin it, but I'd want at least a cart path that clearly kind of goes round and joins up again. It's not the biggest thing, but something else that is confusing me slightly is that this feels like it's lower than here. So if we zoom in, we see kind of the fairway's way below the waterline, which again, in terms of realism as it goes, ain't really going to happen. The bunkers are a little bit small for my liking. I think you can make those a bit wider. And actually I don't think you need this one. This one you've got water right behind it. In terms of options, we've got them. So we can hit driver to here, or we can hit kind of 2-wood down here. Green. We kind of want to be approaching this one from as far left as we can be. Yeah, I'm really been thrown by the fact that I just can't see the fairway at all. Fairway sculpting could be a little bit better, I would say. It certainly could use a few flattens. Okay, it's par 5 to start, so I'm okay with driver being kind of a way to ensure that you've got a second shot in. As it is, I'm kind of looking for my layup. So where's our safe layup? Again, this can all be smoothed out a little bit more. Just technical stuff, I think. I'd have also liked to have seen. You've done some of the heavy rough down here, but then it's kind of stopped here. I don't know whether it's deliberate or not. I'd have liked to have seen maybe the brush brought in here, and kind of you leave a little bit bare stuff around the edge of the tree. In this theme you can do that quite nicely. Now, yeah, the bunkers I think could be sitting better. I'd be wanting to see that land there bumped up a little bit more. Okay, what do I want to leave myself in? I don't mind a pitch into this one. Might have to tone the graphics down in a minute. It is slightly chugging. But don't worry, if I have to tone the graphics down, it doesn't really detract from the look as far as I'm concerned. It's just how far away it renders. Good pin. I like the fact that we've got ways of getting it close. I can just... we hit a very fast pitch. But we're going to get away with it, which I like. I have no problem with that. Green slope makes sense. Yeah, definitely going to have to tone these graphics down. Everything is just chugging. I don't think there's anything really else running, so we'll let the second fly of the play through. Yeah, visuals and stuff are nice. Bunkers again, I see what you're going for with the funky shapes, and really the trick with those is just to make them a little bit bigger. The brushes as you're doing it. Right, okay, we're going to turn this graphics down just a touch. I think it's because it's recording at the same time. There we go. Now we can actually see this moving properly. Okay, I'm glad you've stuck with the kind of consistent retaining wall stuff on the T's. I'm not really sure why you've done it. It feels a bit stuff for the sake of stuff, but that's not a knock, it's just that's a personal preference thing. I don't think you need it. Pin's dicey, but we're on a really short par 3, so that's no problem. I'd have liked to have seen some of this planting thickened up a little bit, or if you've got grass, have a couple of bushes. Feels like the grass is just random. Dare I say maybe even still the autogen stuff? Not sure. It's hard to tell. It's just a little bit patchy and it doesn't really make a huge amount of sense. These two bunkers, I'd like to see them bumped up a little bit so that they're actually kind of almost blocking that line a little bit more. But otherwise, solid hole. And yeah, I like the green shape, actually. I'd probably like to see that one smooth curve. I don't see why you would do the ins and outs. I think we can get a bit too twisty-turny here. And we're going to check out that bunker. Oh no, we're not. This is the other thing with the tiny, tiny bunkers, and you don't really see it till the golfer's in there. Ooh, that sculpting is maybe a little bit harsh down to here. Probably be bumping this bit up. I think you probably run a flattened brush through it, and because it's so kind of shallow, it really lowers it down pretty quickly. Anyway, come on, let's see if we can make an up and down. No, neither very fast. I really like the variety of trees you've used. I know this, I think we're in harvest rather than autumn. No, we're in autumn, aren't we? Yeah, we must be in autumn because of the rocks. It gives you a wide variety of trees, but I think you've used them well, kind of to highlight certain parts of the whole. Okay, so we've got 2 par 5s within the first 3 holes. Good from a CC point of view. You'll find that I'll start saying the same things and picking them up again and again. That's kind of both a good and a bad. Firstly, it shows that you're being consistent with the same themes, but yeah, the same kind of issues are popping up again and again. I think. Oh, also this green has just gotten massive compared to the previous 2. So all of this is designed as kind of like positive feedback. Imagine it's like a friend talking to you and pointing out a few things that they see. The bunkers are just too shallow everywhere. Like this should be about down to here. So if you drew the bottom of this shape and then came around here, these would make a lot of sense. I like the shapes, they're just tiny, and that's kind of hurting the look a little bit. Some bits of the fairway I don't totally get. I don't get why this little lobe is here. I think you'll have more joy in the long run if you start learning to kind of draw fairway lines with the eye, because actually this one just looks a little bit messy, whereas if you were almost drawing a straight, slightly curvy eye with that side of the fairway and with that side of the fairway, and maybe take the tree line back this way a little bit more, have a few trees protruding out there, and just have everything dragging your eye that way, this would look really good. It's got a lot of potential. We're into the sunlight, but also look at how short these bunkers are. Like, look at where I am aiming. This one's not in play. This one's not in play. I'd lose this one completely. It's under the trees, so you can't really see it anyway. Probably bring that one in maybe a little bit more, but I mean, as is, I am basically either laying up or not. This little bit of fairway feels a little bit too narrow. I'd have probably tried to maybe even run it around here and make that one big long central bunker and make you choose a side. I don't know. But this bunker I don't think is ever really in play either. I like what you've tried to do with the funky shapes though. Like, genuinely I really like bunkers that add kind of visual interest as well. 540 down 25. If I go with 2 wood, we're probably yeah. I think I'm going to play this one as a 3-shotter. Yeah, the fairway kind of the soft, fuzzy, flattened brush is worth like really learning, because part of the problem you're having with these bunkers also is you don't really have a high side and a low side, or you kind of do, but they don't make sense. The high side, really, I'd put this side rather than this one, because with where your eye line is coming, it just looks like it's all falling in on itself. In fact, with I'd say pretty much every one of the bunkers, the sculpting is kind of letting you down, and it's really the sculpting behind the bunker. Bump this hill up by like 5 feet or so, and then the hills behind that to make it fit, and just like play with the sculpting behind the bunkers a little bit more. Oh, having said that we'd be out of range, we actually might not be. Again, I like the big kind of yellow and red slopes on the greens. I do think this green's a bit big compared to the previous ones. And that's not necessary. Yeah, kind of same things with the bunkers here as well. They're a little bit too short, small, a little bit not really in play. Okay. And this one will be one of those holes where on a CC you'll be expecting to birdie it, hoping maybe to eagle it a little bit. Yeah, I think same kind of things with the planting here. Actually, I think it definitely isn't auto-gen, but you'd want to clump it together. Yeah, these bits look like they are though. They're just a bit random and they're left and growing in front of bunkers, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Okay, the retaining wall the retaining wall is doing nothing for me, I'm afraid. I don't really understand why it's there. And also, if I hit it, I'm going to be cannoning off all sorts of places. I applaud the creativity, and actually, technically, it's done, yeah, really well. I mean, this has taken a lot of time. It's quite neatly done. Could be a little bit curvier, but it's not the be all and end all. I think my main question is just why is it here? I don't see the need. And it's just kind of housing this fairway that's just got two random ponds either side. I don't know. I think this hole probably needed a bit of a redraft. It feels like this hole is here to show off the retaining wall rather than kind of the retaining wall making sense as part of the hole. Now, with that in mind, where can we play? I think the play is probably a 2-wood somewhere up here, and just letting the wind feed it around. And we get a very fast, so we're going to go and check out this spot. Okay, again, I like the green shape. I like the fact that actually I've got an angle in. Sloping is adding interest on every single one of the greens so far, actually. I feel like your greens have been the high point, with the exception of the size of the last one, maybe. I mean, that retaining wall is just killing me because I can't see anything over it. Oh, we are having tempo issues. I don't really think it's me. I've bumped the graphics down as far as I can go. I feel like the game is slightly struggling this weekend. Okay. Details and things are nice. And a little bit hadn't commented on the green speeds actually either. 157 is a nice speed for CC, I think. And this is a good green. I mean, I've got variable break. I really do think the greens have been the highlight for me so far. And they've been really thoughtfully done, and that's something that takes a bit of, that takes a lot of skill. We're going to have the same issue of how we're getting across this. I mean, it looks like there's, so we expect to take a boat across? I don't know, either way it feels, no, because there's another boat place here, and are we expect to take a boat across? If so, this is, yeah, it's kind of a little too into Fantasyland for my liking. Not really for my liking, but the trees on the edge of the water I would lose. You want people to see your green. You've got all of this, and like potentially a really nice sightline. If you picture the trees being gone, you've got a stunning hole, but we can't really see any of it. We're hitting to a disjointed fairway that's kind of an island, and then across to another island. I don't know, I think this one could be a bit more simple. Yeah, the game is definitely freezing a little bit. Light rough has no squiggles. I'm not going to go around and check for squiggles, but if I happen to land in it, we'll be seeing that there's none. Same thing with bunkers. I mean, the hedge, I don't understand. I guess you've been consistent. Get up. I feel like the hole itself on this one is really solid. It's just actually kind of been let down a little bit by the stuff around it. The trees don't feel like... I think if you're ever putting trees in a way that affects your sightline, really question whether you're doing the right thing. Just in terms of, if you're thinking of that kind of hole in real life, think of a Sawgrass 18th and then picture the trees on the inside of the water. It just wouldn't happen. More retaining wall and hedge stuff. Similar kind of things here in terms of comments with the bunkers, with the hedge. But this one's got a much nicer sightline, and I like the planting down here. I like the framing over here with the trees. This is possibly our best hole so far. However, the green I think is too small, and some of the slopes, like for me this is a pitching wedge shot, particularly at CC level. Especially with that little slope, and you'll get a comment about puddles here. It's worth looking at a kind of green sculpting video and just checking flatten. Like the idea being, what's happening here is the technical explanation is water would form there. There would be puddles because it's the low point on the green and everything's falling inwards. You really want your low points to be somewhere on the edge of the green, like you've got here. Running into bunkers, great. In terms of practicality, you're going to get a lot of balls rolling down here and coming to finish in the exact same spot for putts, which kind of ruins variety a little bit. I'd rather have seen that slope be more gentle and just funnel off front left. Problem is you have this bunker here, so you've bumped that up and you wanted to slope away from the pin, so you've ended up with a low spot because you wanted that high and this bit low and this bit kind of high, so you had no real choice around it. Now we talked about squigglies here. You've got you've done a pretty good job of it. Actually, you've done a very good job. Usually getting the light rough this close to the bunker, I mean, if I'm honest, I'd have said no one's going to be mowing just to there. I'd have mown all the way into the bunker and done light rough, but not nitpicking that at all. Yeah, kind of like you've done here. I'd actually have the light rough going all the way into the bunker, but no biggie. Okay, I just think this is too... I don't really have a miss here. Oh, certainly not when we do that. Let's go and see what's over here. Water. Let's just go back to the tee. Maybe reconsidering my idea on doing videos for these, if it's going to be like this. Oh no, there we go. Yeah, we're definitely a bit laggy today. Okie doke. Yeah, this is tough. Yeah, so you are seeing the edge of the green being a little bit crinkly here. It's because the bunker is just a little bit too close to the edge of the green. I mean, the green slopes here, again, really add interest. I think the problem you've got here is the green is just too small. I think scaling is one of the... Oof! That pin feels a little bit borderline. That's okay. I think one of your major issues here is scale, in terms of size of bunkers, size of greens. They've kind of felt a little bit haphazard, and I'm not saying everything needs to be uniform, but have a bit of a framework in mind. for me, when I'm going around splining a green, 95 yards is kind of the standard that I'm working to. If I want to go for a large green, it'll be 105, small green 85, and that's got to be commensurate with the hole that you want. See, this one's another one of the larger greens, like with that par 5 we had beforehand. But at least when we do have the larger greens, we've got a big slope or something to help us. I like the environment as well, actually. I think it's been consistent. Same comments with bunkers, same comments with fairway sculpting, same comments with fairway shape. It's just a bit too in and out, and it's just in and out for the sake of being in and out. I feel that driver's being pinched quite a bit, but I don't necessarily have a problem with that. I think I would like to see maybe a little bit more safety if I choose to take 2-wood on, but not a big issue. Yeah, I think planting again, I'd like to see some of the bigger bushes meshed in with that lot. Oh my goodness, perfect. And feed down the slope. Lovely. That was by design. I saw that the slope was there and knew we could kind of bounce it a little bit short. And I like that. I think that's a really good design feature that people can use more of. Right, slopes to help as well as to hinder. Get in. Nah. It's a shame. Stroke index 1, this one. Have to believe that your pin is kind of relative. Your pin 1 is kind of frontish, and a lot of people are catching that runoff. But still liking this so far. Then we've got our third par 5 of the front 9, which is a good thing for a CC course to have. Sculpting here, that dips off massively. I do not understand why there's retaining wall around this bit of the fairway and no others. It's super contrived. I like that we've got a bit more space here now though. Again, the retaining wall is just leaping out. I honestly think this course would have been better without it. It's drawing attention in a way that it takes my attention away from the course. I really do. When I'm on them, I like the view from here, and I like the way you've done these tees, and that really adds to the course. What I'm not such a fan of is looking at them and just having it right behind the hole, because it feels like if I go long I'm going to be having pinball. I particularly think if someone's having 2-wood in here. Yeah. Okay, we've got a central hazard. We've had quite a few. I'm not against central hazards. I don't think there's any way for me to hit driver here. Maybe if I go fully lofted fast, I can, with a downwind, I can be clearing here, but for CC, I'd want to be seeing this bunker really just like maybe a bit more diagonal, coming in from one side. Cannot use this bit of the fairway at all. Like, maybe I'm hitting 1 iron and then, I mean, is the idea to give me a better angle? Maybe. I don't know. This feels horribly disjointed, and it's just kind of an extra. And yeah, we can see we're having. I mean, the wall is a little bit more jagged here. I mean, the sharp corners don't. Yeah, I think I've said my piece on the retaining wall. Let's move the mouse out of the way a little bit. So I think that's the second par 5 I've hit 1 iron off the tee. I'm fine with 1, 2 feels a little bit like we're having everything taken out of our hands. I do like that I still have a shot at the green though. And actually I think 1 iron might be the play if we can get a fast. I mean, that mound has to go. It's made the whole second shot blind, unfortunately, so I can't see what I'm hitting into. Maybe we're playing with blindness, but I think I'm blind pretty much from over here as well if I'd gone this side. I don't know. I think big sculpting is something I'd look at as well, because the fact that this kind of goes up a little bit and then down is killing your sightline. Right, let's try this. Perfect, but we might roll on and be left with probably a horrible putt. I like this. On a par 5, again, I think, yeah, the green complexes is definitely the strength. Or rather the greens. I think the complexes themselves, bunkering is kind of just working around the greens rather than really with strategic placement, I feel. Although that front, let's have a little look. So, strategic placement, I'd have liked to have seen that one brought in a little bit, which would encourage me to really go for the left off my tee shot. This one at the back is just too small, and the same with this one. But we'll see. I mean, this isn't going to be my only playthrough of this course. It'll be the only one I do a video for, but yeah, did worry about that. I'll be trying it on a different pin as well, as part of the judging. Go on, get it in. There you go. Okay. I like how you've got so many par 5s on the front, and 2 on the back as well. I think the variety of pars on this course has been good. I do feel part of what you're finding tricky as well is that you're starting your fairway too close to the tee, which means you've got a lot of dead space to fill. This green is more back to like the first few sizes, where it's a little bit on the smaller side. Really like the shape as well, again with the green. And again, now that I'm standing on it, I like the teeing complex. It's from the previous hole that it looks not so good. We have another central hazard. I feel we're kind of using them a bit too much at the moment. Yeah, I mean, let's have a look at the overhead. This fairway's starting way too short, because nobody's going to be hitting a lob wedge to this section. Even the seniors from the front tee are not going to be hitting, well, a pitch shot 9-iron. For me, 190 is usually a good place to start your fairway from the back tees. And look at all the space that would have freed up where you could have moved these tees. And also, when you do that, you can spread the tees out a little bit more. You can bring the cart path in and around here, and that frames it a bit more. You can use trees around this side, and I think that's going to help you immensely as well. Starting the fairway at around 200 would make life a lot easier. I think the bunker shapes, again, like from the overhead, they look really nice. They're just too small. And they're kind of... The only one that's in play is this one, and you can see around the edge we've got some sculpting issues here. But let's have a think. If I go this way, then I've got a clean view into that pin. If I go this way, is there an advantage to be gained from going this way? I'm not sure there is. I'm probably wanting to be this way every time, and yet this way feels like the more pinched tee shot in terms of, I don't know, maybe landing zone going up to there. Let's have a look. Don't get me wrong, I really like the use of a central hazard to kind of dictate strategy. I don't think this is it. The retaining wall bunker, it just looks too forced. I think all of the retaining wall use on this course, frankly, has just been a little bit forced. It's not felt natural. It's felt like we're trying to use retaining wall rather than just being like, we need retaining wall. I'm going to go down the left, I think. I mean, technically it's well done. It's nice and curvy. I just don't think it makes sense. These two bunkers look really good. And the reason for that is that the sculpting makes sense. You've got a low area. And actually, you've done these about as well as you can do them. It would get a lot easier for you if you space them out a little bit more. Again, make this one a bit deeper and then bring this one back to, I presume, where you had one originally. Looking at that little indentation. Still, again, the green complex has been good. Getting a lot of interest out of the greens. It's an interesting swing. But we've got a birdie putt. Which is welcome after the last few. No, it's never high enough. So I think that front nine, regardless of how I've played it, is a real scoring nine. I think that's a strength. The variety, the 3 par 5s is good. Okay, we've got another short hole. At this point, it's probably a good time to check the scorecard and see distances. Okay, so our par 3s, Usually you want a range 1, 4, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 9, 1, 1, 8, 6, 1, 6, 4. Really good spread. Maybe that one could be a little bit longer, but we'll wait and see it. But actually, if 191 is your longest on a CC course, I think that's great. Your par 5s look like they're all reachable. They're kind of similar distances. Very short, that one. Wonder whether we've got a funky dog leg there. Maybe I've liked one of them, the par 5s being a little bit longer, given that we've got so many of them. Longest par 4, 496 is interesting. I think where you're really missing is like the properly short par 4. So like a 320 or 350 or going like sub 400. We've got a lot that are going to be driver, wedge, but that screams to me as something that I think would add a bit more variety. But variety's been good. I'm afraid we've got an illegal pin there though, which it's not the end of the world, but on CC we really shouldn't be having them. Like, we shouldn't really be pushing greens this close to the edge. I get that it's a short par 3 though, so, and it might be that it only shows from one angle, although it is the angle that it was from the tee. That was just a bad swing. Yeah. I mean, when you're playtesting, you've got to look at it from different angles. Yeah, this unfortunately isn't really close. You've got to be playtesting this more carefully, because you would have seen that if you've played through a couple of times. Have a couple of goes per pin set, check, have an idea in your head which are the pins that are a little bit dodgy, which ones aren't, and which ones you need to look at really carefully. Okay, we've got interesting fairway shapes. I think I keep coming back to scaling as like the major thing that's kind of that this course is struggling with. The tree placement, again, the fact that we've kind of weaved our way through them on the flyover usually means that they're not really, like in real life, these would have been cut down. Like, we don't go playing hit around the trees. None of this fairway matters, because nobody is going to be laying up with a 9-iron to there. I mean, maybe, but it just feels like a weird decision. If we're going driver, then we've got pitch around. That feels like the play. Yeah, again, I don't really understand why this fairway is coming in here. Get it kind of straighter. I think this hole would have just been so much better if you brought the fairway down this way, lose all of this, have this bit be water, and just make the hole more simple. And start the fairway like here. Have it going all the way out there, so where your better angle is from challenging the water, but you can hit it all the way up there and then come across. I mean, are we potentially drivable? I think we are. So this is your one in that range. Why is it saying 368? Oh, it's saying 368 because you've done something funky with the waypoint. Right. I don't love the waypoint manipulation, to be honest. I don't think it helps you. I don't think I've got the wind for this today, so I'm going to go this way. Thought about it. Came close to pulling the trigger, but it would have needed a fast, and we were never making it. Okay, now we've got a side hill lie. Again, the fairway sculpting is just a little bit bumpy. Just get practice with that, with the fuzzy brush, that fourth page, top left-hand corner one, on both raise and flatten, and just working land, and you'll see it'll be the single biggest thing you do if you're designing. Very slow. Thank you, game. Well, I'm going to have to restart my computer before doing the next one. This is very chuggy, even on low graphics. Anything else I've mentioned? I like the planting. I think the planting can be scaled up. These bushes are very small. Rocks are very small. I think you'll have more joy if you make everything a little bit bigger. I actually think your tree heights, this one's giant. I'd lower that one, make that smaller. I think a lot of your stuff is coming down to scale. Just go and play a few more courses where you are of like the top designers, where you are literally just looking at how big things are. Where does the fairway start? How big is that bunker? How big's the green? And then play another pin set and see where that's going. Yeah, dreadful, but because actually the off-course stuff, the little details have been nice. Some of the framing of holes has been really nice. I think the hole designs themselves have been a bit hit or miss for me. And a lot of them, there's just things that don't make sense. Like, we've got some auto-gen planting again right in front of a bunker. There's no way you've planted these bushes and it's sitting right in front of that bunker. I don't understand it. I love that this hole has a much clearer sight line, and it helps because it's just a dead straight hole. And we've got a bridge across, where, I mean, the green is a funky shape, but again, you've given me some really nice contouring. Like, there's lots of positives here. Tee shot's a bit blind. I would like for that not to be the case. I'd like that land to be lowered and be able to see a bit more, particularly given that there's a bunker down there. But I think the second shot is money. And from that point of view, that is going to be your best approach shot on the course. Again, slightly... yeah, the raise and flatten will help you a lot, because I don't think you want this dip in the fairway. You don't intend it to be, and you can see there's issues here. Make the brush really big. There's I've done a couple of videos on sculpting, which I'll happily link to you. Some of the bunkering just makes... I'd like you thinking more about where your bunkers are in terms of challenging the player, rather than let's just put some bunkers here, because these two are doing nothing. Because even if they weren't there, the water's a better hazard anyway. All the bunkers are going to do is save a random layup shot from here that's 70 yards on a par 4 from going in the water. So, tough long hole, but I like that you've given me an option to kind of run the ball down there if I can get it about right, which I won't be able to, but I have the option. I think part of what I'm struggling with a little bit on this course as well is I don't think you've quite got whether you want it to be rugged or clean. Like, this planting is very... like, let's just chuck some random overgrown stuff down and we'd expect... but the rest of the course looks like we've got yachts and we've got lots of retaining walls. I think it's kind of struggling for an identity a little bit. In the sense of, what are we trying to be here? Oh, you know what, for a very fast flop shot, that's done fairly well. Keep coming. I wonder whether the greens could have coped with being a little bit higher. I do like the speed, I have nothing... I'm fine with it. I just think maybe it could have been more interesting at higher speed. That's just an idle thought though, that's not anything I'm docking points for. Yeah, I'm sorry this video has been a little bit choppy in places and my player's not been good, because tempo is very challenging with this for some reason. Yeah, again we've got trees obscuring our sightline, which I'm not loving. This is the 491 par 5. Okay. Rocks around the bunkers we haven't seen before. I feel like we're now starting to try new stuff for the sake of being new, or like slightly different. Like, this hasn't happened anywhere else before, and it doesn't really make sense. And again, kind of really goes back to what is the course trying to be, and I still don't think we know. Oh my, we've got us going. Yeah, you can see how the fairway's kind of bowling down in here as well. Be looking to sort that out. A little bit more judicious flattening would be good. And the same here. Right, take a flattened brush, click once here, and make it quite large, so that it's covering like a circle like that, maybe even bigger. And then click once here, once here, once here, once here. Go from high down to low, and you'll get a nice smooth. It's got to be covering the whole fairway, and it will smooth it out in terms of just that direction. Once you get used to things like that and working with those tools, it'll all get a lot easier for you. Yeah, I think this green is another one where, you remember we had that short I'm not sure, that 170 yard par 3 on the front where I felt the green was a little bit too small for the slopes you'd put in on it. Kind of feel the same here. Am I kind of forced to go for it? 9 mile an hour wind. Yeah, let's go for it. Oh, I was hoping for a fast, but yeah, you can tell how much my game is struggling and that it's given me the world's biggest very fast. We'll try to sort this for the next playthrough. Goodness me, really chugging. Okay, I like that even if you've kind of weighted the odds in me going for it by the fact that if I don't, I'm pitching from an awkward angle. Hard to do much when you keep getting very fast that are not even close. Yeah, we got the same kind of puddle thing here. Oh, nearly hold it anyway. A bogey is well deserved from that hole. Okay, this is the long par 3. Okay, lots of stuff here. This bit could have used flattening again. You've just got little moguls that... I like the little path down, but then where do we go from there? We kind of walk across the bunker or stumble around a bush. I do like that you're giving me more kind of like bridge and like way to get to the hole and all of that. But let's go all out at it. Yeah, again, I don't think this green is big enough to house the slopes that you've got, particularly at CC level. If you look at where my shot could land, I'm going to be struggling to keep this on. That's about as good as we can do. I just think for a hole of that length, you'd want a bigger green. Like, reward people for hitting a shot. Yeah, I have not been good with these greens all day, in spite of enjoying them. The bunker at the back again is kind of sunk down a little bit. I think working your bunker sculpting is going to be one of your bigger things. Your priority pieces, I think, are getting a real grip on the sculpting tools, opening out your sight lines, scaling, and kind of drawing lines with your fairway, I think would be my other one. And just shapes, like, why is this coming in here? And probably the final one I'd look at is where are the bunkers going in terms of strategy. I don't think the planting is that far off. I think you can scale it up a little bit and do more. I mean, this mound in the fairway is giant. And as a result, we're just going to go way short of it. Oh, we found perfect again. About time. I do like the planting you've done. I think you've clearly taken some care over it, and it will be a real strength in the future. It just needs a little bit more classic. It needs to be a little bit bigger in places, and you'll have a lot more luck with the rock work if it's like you're just using larger rocks. Okay, 3 to go. Wow me with your closing stretch. Yeah, the retaining wall stuff's a no. Again, it just... It doesn't belong with the hole, it is the hole. Yeah, it's just really forced. This green complex, the green sculpting on this one could be better. I think this one feels a little bit more random in terms of where there are mounds and hollows, and I think a large part of that has to do with the wall surrounding it, because you've kind of got less that you can work with. In that you've got to have made sure that it's the same height all the way around So therefore, how can you add interest? Well, you're just having to make random lifts and raises rather than having the land make sense. These have been your strengths in terms of, we'll get to the fairway shape in a minute, but clean sight lines when I can see where I'm going, when I can see the whole hole, being a real strength. Don't like the fact that this is split into multiple different fairways so much. I think it's, again, like, do we really think there would be a river going through like all of this? Split fairways feel like an easy way to do options. They are really, really tough to pull off because it's very hard to make them kind of natural. Now we're back to a better green. I like the shape. I like the size for the length of hole. Maybe a tiny bit small. I really like the slopes that you've got going on here. And I've got ways to feed it close or not. That front one less so, but these two kind of coming off the bunkers I think work really nicely. Yeah, I think 1-iron is my 1-iron is my shot on this course really. Oh. Yeah, we can see the pumps and things need work, just like the big sculpts. We'll hit a wedge in. Oh, for goodness sake. I'm not really sure what more you can do at this point. Let's hit that shot again, because that one, I'm making the same swing as I did previously. Just to be absolutely clear, in no way am I docking you points for the fact that the game is giving me random very fasts. That is not your fault. Some of the technical stuff has been pretty good, like the transitions have been... I haven't spotted any, I haven't really been gone and looking for some. Yeah, it could be a little bit neater, but it hasn't grabbed my eye. They're fine. Nope. I have just either under-read or over-read break every single part on this hole, of course. Nearly a case in point again. Okay, and we finish with a par 5, which is kind of a TGC cliche mode move, but I don't mind it. I think it's good to have a scoring hole at the end. Again, the retaining wall, I think this has been a real detraction from the course from me. I'd be interested to see how many of the other judges feel the same. I think probably the majority will, if not all. It just doesn't fit. It's there for the sake of saying you can use a retaining wall, and it's not. The waterfall there could be done a lot neater in terms of just... I mean, why is it a waterfall? It would be... I'd probably use low falls on this one. We can also... I mean, yeah. I don't think it's needed. I do feel that driver has been taken out of my hands on just about every one of the par 5s, which is a shame. I mean, it doesn't matter when you hit it very fast into the water, no matter what you do, but I'd be interesting. You all have watched this back, and when you do that, you'll see how many of the par 5s have I felt I'd be willing to bet it's not any where I've taken driver. I think the fairways are just a bit too wavy. That means that a lot of the options are kind of taken out of your hands because you can't really land it on a fairway and stay there. Well, I mean, it wouldn't. Yeah, my computer needs a restart. Let's go check this bit of the fairway out. Nice that you gave me this bit of the fairway though. Wow, this is going brilliantly. Oh, there we go. See, it does occasionally register it, but the swing line's also so funny. Okay, and we've made it through the world's worst tempo. Okay, so +7, obviously not great. We're ignoring the score. What did I think was good? I felt the green complexes were quite nice. Like some of the way you've done the extras looks really good. The planting, nice. Could be scaled up a little bit. I think I liked pretty much all of the par 3s. I like the fact that you gave me a number of par 5s to score on. Obviously I didn't manage that on the back 9 when everything went badly. But I think that was good. I think it could have used a few shorter par 4s. I mean, my main takeaways would be sculpting. That flattening of fairways is going to make life a lot easier for you, and working on your sight lines so that you can see the whole of the hole, not putting trees in the way, not putting stuff in there that grabs your attention. The retaining wall was one. Like, there's a place for having something that's a little bit different when it adds to a course and kind of adds variety per hole. But I think there was a lot of stuff for the sake of stuff here. Particularly like the retaining wall greens and retaining wall tees. If you have the odd one, they look quite nice. When we had every single tee pretty much being retaining wall, I stopped noticing it. And it would be nice just to be like, oh, have a wow moment there. But I'm trying to think what else. Length of hole was pretty good. You definitely did try to give me options. I felt the options were often too forced, in that I basically had no choice. I'm thinking of, particularly on the front 9, there were a lot of centre line bunkers. On the back we had that river, for example, weaving its way through the final hole. Things like that. But yeah, I think, I mean, I'll put my scores and things in differently, but in terms of, let me just go to scoring for a second. Technical execution was, I mean, okay. I'd say the major thing that you're looking for really is the planting. The planting, I don't think, it kind of came across as looking autogen in places, which I don't necessarily think it is. But yeah. Sorry. Point 1: playability and shot values. How many times do I have to hit different clubs and things like that? I mean, there are a variety of lengths. I can't say I remember all that many holes. As in, oh, there was definitely that one, or definitely that one, or definitely that one. I remember the par 3s. I remember a couple of things from the holes, like I remember retaining wall greens. I certainly remember an approach into this par 5, I think. And definitely the approach into 12, I thought was one of your better ones. But there were so many other things, I think, dragging me away from the round in terms of a few technical aspects. Technical execution, the retaining wall was done well, it just didn't fit. The planting, I think we've talked about, it just looked a little bit ragged in places. And that kind of comes into the aesthetics and environment as well. I don't really think you ever knew what you wanted to do with this. Routing, flow, cohesions, variety of holes. I didn't actually check the routing and whether that all made sense, but in terms of flow of holes, I like the 37 par out and the 35 back. That's really cool and fits. The length of 3s was good. I felt we could have used a few more just like straighter holes and like careful bunkering. I think would have been a major thing. That's knocking it down on playability and shot values for me. I don't think the bunkering really fitted strategically. Yeah. Okay, anyway, I'm going to stop this. I'm going to upload this to YouTube. If there's anything else you'd like further clarification on afterwards, please pop me a message. I'll be very happy to talk you through.